Hey, welcome back to the Flex Diet Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike T. Nelson, where we discuss all things to increase performance of all facets, better body composition, and how to do it all without destroying your health in a flexible program/system. So today, of course, we are brought to you by the Flex Diet Certification, which is opening again today, October 18th, 2021. If you are listening to this, go to flexdiet.com for all of the details. This is the last time it will be open for this year. It'll be open until October 25th, so you have 7 days. Go to flexdiet.com and we have all the details there. So what it is it's a complete system of how to use nutrition and recovery for yourself or for your clients for better performance and body composition, and they all transfer to having better health also. So what I did is I broke down the top 8 interventions that you can do in those areas, everything from dietary protein, dietary carbohydrates, dietary fat, so NEAT, so non-exercise activity thermogenesis, twitching, walking, movement, exercise, sleep, micronutrition, fasting, ketones, and more. We broke that down into a system where you will learn the big picture of the concepts, which are a mashup of flexible dieting and a metabolic flexibility. And then you'll also learn within just a 1-hour primer within each area what you need to know from a technical standpoint. So for protein, how does protein work? How does it repair muscle? Different things like muscle protein synthetic response. How you break down amino acids. How many different types of amino acids do you need to build more muscle tissue? What are the requirements for that? What are the different types of protein? Does it really matter? Does casein matter? Whey? Even plant proteins now are also popular. So we break down everything you would need to know on the technical side. Those lectures, except for the carbohydrate one, they're all less than an hour. So they are pretty dense. They are filled with lots of references. But I do my best to bring you up to a level and not necessarily try to talk over your head, so that at the end of it, you'll understand some of the technical terms, but each one of them is explained. And then within each area, we have 5 specific action items. So one of the downsides that I've noticed with a lot of other certifications is you would have some that are very research-based, and they would be good and quite accurate, but you were left to your own devices to figure out what the hell you're supposed to do at that point. There would be some other certifications that were really good at telling you what to do, but they didn't mention any of the research or if what they were telling you to do was accurate. You didn't really know when you were supposed to apply it. You were missing the big picture or the context. So one of the things I work to solve is to have all 3 of those. You'll understand the big picture, the context. You'll have a technical primer for each of the 8 interventions, and then you'll have 5 specific action items that we teach you how to apply in the system to know which one is going to be best for each client. Because we know that everyone's going to be a little bit different. Clients are going to have their own preferences, and this allows you to make it more custom to each one of them. And we'll show you the system of how to do that. So at the end, you'll have 40 different action items that you can pick from. And the other nice part is that the interventions are laid out with something I call coaching leverage. So we could rate all of them just based on physiology. And if we did that, it's useful, but only to a point. And what I found when I worked that way in the past, sleep would be near the top, right? We could pull all sorts of crazy research showing that if you don't get enough sleep, everything goes to crap. Therefore, you need to get more sleep. And you can hammer on your clients about getting more sleep. But what I found in practice was it wasn't super useful. At the end of the day, it ends up being a conversation where you're telling your client that hey, you know, those 1 to 2 hours you spend at night watching Netflix, yeah, like don't do that. Just, you know, don't hang out with your spouse. Go to bed and you'll feel better. It's probably true, but it's a very, very hard sell. They would have to change a lot of other things in their life. And yes, they can increase their quality of sleep. That is helpful. But if you're only sleeping 5 hours a night, you can only increase your quality so much. And at some point, you're just going to need to sleep more. So the downside I found was that only focusing on the physiology, it made it more difficult in practice to do some of the interventions. So I came up with something we call coaching leverage, which is looking at the physiologic impact, and we multiply that by the psychology, the client's ability to change. So for example, protein, the physiologic effect, pretty darn high. On a 1 to 10 scale, let's say it's a 9. What I've noticed then is most people with a little bit of education, which we go over, are pretty willing to eat more protein. They're like, wait a minute, I'm trying to lose fat and you're telling me to eat more of this thing. Yep, that's correct. Most people were pretty able to do that. So clients' ability to change, the psychology, was also like a 9 or an 8. It was pretty high. So in the course, I think I rated it a 9. So 9 times 9 is 81. So sleep, we could argue, maybe even has a higher physiologic response than protein. We'll give that a 10. But what I found in practice, trying to get clients to sleep more, was exceedingly difficult. So that was, at best, maybe a 1 or a 2, right? So if it's a 1, you're looking at an overall score of a 10. So as it turned out, in terms of the 8 interventions, protein was number 1 via coaching leverage, and sleep was number 8. It was actually dead last. And the good part is that this allows you to focus on the things that are going to move the needle, both from a physiologic standpoint, and you're rigging the system in your client's favor so that they can do the things that you want them to do that are going to move the needle. And you're spending a lot less time trying to, quote unquote, motivate them, having discussions. Then they feel bad because they didn't do the thing. They didn't get to bed earlier at night. And again, this doesn't mean that sleep is not important. And you may have some clients who are able to move things around and get more sleep. But I find that that's usually not the norm. So they're ranked from 1 to 8. And number 1 is protein. And so you would start working on protein with your clients. Once they're pretty good with that, then you would move on to the next intervention. And so it walks you through the system where you're always working on the big rocks first from both a psychology standpoint and a physiology standpoint. Now, most of the course is heavy on the physiology. The psychology and ability to change and those types of things. We do use some tactics from motivational interviewing. They are more on the minor side, and they're all, in essence, baked into the system. So if you're looking for a course that's very heavy on how clients change, different models of change, you know, like trans-theoretical model, etc., what to do, this would not be the course for you. But if you're looking for a system that you want to understand a little bit more on the physiology side, you want a system that you can apply for nutrition and recovery that helps with body composition and performance, and knowing you don't want to destroy your client's health in the process, then, of course, I'm very biased, but I would recommend it. And the cool part now is, after much effort and money, we do have CEU approval now, which is awesome. So we have CEUs now approved from ACE, CEUs from the NSCA, National Strength and Conditioning Association, and we have CEUs from the NASM, from NASM. So if you are part of any of those organizations, you will now be able to get CEU credit for it. The course is 100% online. You can do it anywhere you have internet access. It is primarily video-based, although we will be loading up the transcripts in there also. And the cool part is, at least for this one, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next year yet, but if you have any specific questions on the certification as you go through, you will have my private email address, and just email me. I will get back to you usually within 24 to 48 hours, unless I'm traveling or out of the country or something crazy. And I will personally help you through whatever questions you have about the material. I'm still able to do this. I don't know how long I'll be able to keep doing it, but I want to do everything I can to do that as long as possible to help you personally if you have any questions on the material itself. Last thing, we do have expert interviews in there too. These have not been published anywhere else. They are not on any location. So for protein, we've got 2 interviews, one from Dr. Stu Phillips of McMaster, who's done a ton of research on protein, and Dr. Jose Antonio. We talked with Dr. Eric Helms about flexible dieting, Dr. Dan Party about metabolism and sleep, Dr. Hunter Waldman about metabolic flexibility, insulin, Dr. Mike Ormsby about how your body is using carbohydrates, fat, and protein before bed. And we've got even more interviews there too. So expert interviews from people who are primarily researchers. So this allows you to go even deeper into the topic. And after each intervention, there's a quiz. So at the end, you'll get a completion form. And like I said, this does allow us to apply for CEUs, which we do have now from ACE, the NSCA, and NASM. If you want CEUs from another organization that is not listed there, we obviously can't guarantee it, but you can appeal for CEUs. A fair amount of the time, they usually do get granted. Again, if you have any questions on how to do that process, talk to the organization, and I will help you with whatever information I can give you on my end in hopes of getting it approved as a one-op for other organizations. If there's an organization that you really want CEUs from, just email me and I'll do my best once we get enough to submit to other organizations also. So there you go. There's a little bit more about the Flex Diet certification. It is out now, open October 18th through October 25th. Go to flexdiet.com, flexdiet.com, and that will give you all of the information. If you're listening to this outside of that time period, you can still go there and you can get on the wait list to be notified the next time that it opens. As of now, it looks like the next time it opens will be January of 2022. But go to flexdiet.com either way. And if there's any questions I can answer for you, just hop on the wait list and just hit reply via the newsletter, and I will get back to you there. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in the course. Really appreciate you listening to this podcast. Go to flexdiet.com, and I will see you there. Thank you so much.